All right, guys, welcome back to the Triple Play podcast. We do have the full Triple Play today. I'm Colby, that's CJ, that's Nick, and you know
About
what,
time you're here.
CJ, I'm gonna let you tell them what we're talking about today.
You know, I actually don't know.
Okay, well, Nick, you
Getting
tell them what we're
in there.
talking about.
We're talking about fantasy football and the best running backs that you can pick in your draft.
Which
We're
running back?
there's running back. We're gonna try to make sure that we're not like, oh, well, you should definitely get Jonathan Taylor because Jonathan Taylor might be the first guy picked overall. So we're gonna talk
Yeah.
about some guys later on in the draft that you could pick up. I know our drafts only have eight teams in it usually, so we're not going too deep into the running back class, but we'll try to mention some guys for everybody out there. I know a lot of people do 12-team leagues. Somebody told me the other day they did a 14-team league. I'm just like,
14.
yeah, 14. Imagine who you're picking at the end of that. You're picking like third stringers out here.
Right.
Like just guys
Ryan
that you
Mallett
hope
as a
get out
quarterback.
there. Yeah. Just guys that you hope are going to get into the game. But anyway, Nick, I'll let you pick the first guy. We'll see what you got here.
Well, sadly for me, I'm a Panthers fan, so I do like Christian McCaffrey the 3 games a year he gets to play. Uh, I
He's
think
gonna drop to the third round.
if he plays, 15 games, he'll probably be the best running back in the league. But I don't know. It's just all about staying healthy for him.
I tell you what, 15 games for Christian McCaffrey would be number one running back in fantasy football, in my opinion. Like
Probably.
he could miss 2 games, and I think he could still be the number one running back in fantasy football. That's how many points he scores. Like honestly,
he is good, but man, the health issues do scare me a little bit.
Because the Panthers force feed on the ball 500 times a year.
Yeah. Well, so CJ, so you're saying if you have the first pick, you're definitely not going with Christian McCaffrey.
Absolutely not.
Well,
I
who are
probably wouldn't
you?
with the first pick.
You know what? I'm the type
I'd
of
either
guy.
go. No, go ahead, go.
Well, I'm just saying, like the past 2 years, I've taken Christian McCaffrey in an auction draft for like almost half my money, and I took him first pick in our league together last year. I'll do it again this year. Listen, I'm gonna ride it until
You're
he finally
bold,
gets a
man.
good season, and I want to take it to the ship, baby. Listen, this year I'm all about taking risks, and I think Christian McCaffrey is just a guy that can definitely win you the league. But CJ, you go ahead and say what you were gonna say.
If you don't take Jonathan Taylor or Derrick Henry with your first 2 picks, or for like the 1-2 picks, you're irrelevant. I don't know what else to tell you. Dalvin Cook, I slide in that spot.
Yeah.
Even Austin Eckler, I could see him sneaking up above.
So
I could see him going above CMC. To be honest with you,
I see
and
a lot.
Dalvin Henry.
Yeah, I see a lot of a lot of the big time analysts. Everybody's leaning on Jonathan Taylor number one. His offense got better. He went from Carson Wentz to Matt Ryan, and everybody's like, "Oh, Matt Ryan's old."
And he's got one of the better O lines in football.
Absolutely, that's a very good point. But
and the Colts are just a very well-rounded team. Like their defense can get stops. They're not just one-sided either.
Absolutely,
you look at the Colts roster, they have like maybe they have like a couple holes, but they're a very, very solid team.
That's a fun AFC Championship hopeful team there for sure.
Bring them back to Peyton Manning.
But I think, in my opinion, it's still Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey. Now, Nick, I'll give you a chance to speak here. Who do you think are you going with third? Are you going with a guy like Derrick Henry, or are you going with a guy like Austin Eckler? Because those are two kind of really different guys, in my opinion.
I mean, Derrick Henry, I don't know. He's just a beast. Like, I just feel like every time he gets the ball, it's going to take like 3 or 4 guys to stop him. He's a freak of nature.
Yeah. Now, I will say this. We all know that Derrick Henry went down with injury last year. He's a big guy that's had trouble with foot injuries.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I would probably say, because a lot of our leagues are going to be PPR leagues, points per reception.
Yeah.
That's where I would take a guy like Austin Eckler. I feel like he's my third guy off the board just because he's the everything back for the Chargers. And the Chargers could be, we were talking about the Colts offense. I think the Chargers could be one of the best offenses in the AFC for sure. So who are you thinking, CJ, between Henry and Eckler?
The third pick.
Yeah, like if you had the third pick.
I would go John Taylor, D. Hen, and Dalvin Cook would be my third guy probably.
Really? Now that's another guy with some injury risks there. So
yeah, but he's got good weapons on there. They have a good variety of offense, so he's not going to get too pounded with the ball. But he's obviously going to get his touches. And Kirk Cousins is He's reliable. He's pretty much been the same kind of. And J-Jet,
Yeah.
one of the best receivers in the league. Their O-line is kind of questionable. Defense is also very kind of questionable. But the
Yeah.
Vikings can go on streaks. I feel like they're very streaky. So
I feel like the Vikings are the type of team that could go on a streak and win the division. Though they got a new coach, more of an
over the
offensive minded
Packers?
guy. Over the Pack. Well, look, we'll talk about the Packers another time.
Oh my
But
God.
but listen, I do think the Vikings have the weapons. Dalvin Cook has averaged about 13, 14 games a season. That's good enough for him to be a top 7 running back at least. And if you're drafting a guy at the very beginning of your draft and you say, hey, he's for sure going to be a top 7 running back. It's not a bad deal to me. So,
He's top 5 for sure for me.
yeah, no, I think Dalvin
He's in
Cook's
that
up
top
there.
tier. I think we bump out CMC just because of his injury history. Like he's played what 6 years? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What? You're telling me? So, okay, CMC has I would say, you're worried about CMC the most. You're worried about Derrick Henry right after that. Then you're probably worried about Dalvin Cook after that. But I'm still not ready to say that, Christian McCaffrey just has too much upside to not take him over Cook. Like I
Yeah,
could see taking Henry in the 2, but
if Christian McCaffrey had one injury year, okay, but he has had back to back where he
I
has
know.
missed
I
10
know.
plus games, and that's not like that's just hard to like come back from to me. You know what I mean?
So,
Like I think Adrian Peterson missed a whole year and then came back and won MVP, but
yep,
McCaffrey has missed 2 years, 10 plus games. I just don't see him. I see him. I think he will be good. So like I'm not gonna say he's gonna be a scrub. But I'm thinking
absolutely.
that these guys will be better fantasy wise than he is. Because if I'm the Panthers, I get old Chuba Hubbard in there to give him some of the power carries and let McCaffrey do whatever he got to do. Put him in the slot, line him up, obviously run the ball
Yeah.
sometimes, but I treat him almost like a Debo Samuel type guy.
Well,
Which also Debo is very highly rated too. But
yeah. Well, now I will say that I feel like, Baker Mayfield does upgrade your passing game, so that takes a little bit of pressure out of the box. Chuba Hubbard just with Sam Darnold under center last year, Chuba just struggled really hard to get anything going just because they could stack the box and they knew that Sam Darnold wasn't going to hit a target. I really wish that he would have played good, would have worked out fine and everything, but it's obvious that Baker Mayfield is better than Sam Darnold. Like it's
but the Browns have a better team than the Panthers do.
I do agree that the weapons there were better at a time, but you got to remember Baker Mayfield didn't always utilize those specific weapons. A guy like
didn't know how.
Well, no, it's not because he didn't know how. Baker Mayfield throws to the open guy. A guy like Rashad Higgins that is now a Carolina Panther saw a lot of action over in Cleveland because like that number 1 guy is going to get the attention. That number 2 guy is going to get the attention, but Baker Mayfield
number 1 is Robbie Anderson.
Well, no, what? Robbie Anderson is not DJ Moore.
Oh.
And DJ Moore is actually that guy.
He's your slot guy, though. Robbie Anderson, I think.
Okay, CJ, we're done talking about the Panthers. You don't even know what you're talking about. Okay, we're just gonna get off topic. All right. Let's go on down the list here just a little bit before it gets out of hand here. Let's talk about 6, 7, and 8 because I feel like those 3 guys are a little bit more conventional as far as running backs go. Joe Mixon, Najee Harris, and Nick Chubb. Obviously, one's a little bit older than the other 2. One's pretty young. If you're taking one of those guys, which guy are you going with and why?
Najee first over those guys.
I agree.
Because Pittsburgh they've always utilized their running backs very well.
Yeah.
From what I've seen, like with Jerome Bettis, Le'Veon Bell, what's the other, Franco Harris, those guys.
James Conner would have been better if he wouldn't have got hurt so much.
Well, I think he had cancer, didn't he?
Well, no, he come back from that before he ever
I know, but that's still hard to come back from.
Well, the guy just struggled to stay healthy. He stayed more healthy since he went to Arizona. But anyway, I agree with you on Najee Harris.
Because Najee is more of an athlete, I think, than they've ever had at running back. Besides, Le'Veon was up there, like the thing about Le'Veon, he was just so patient, but Najee is just like a big old dude. Like,
he's a hoss, yeah.
Yeah, he's a big guy. You put the ball in his hands, he's gonna make stuff happen. Second, I'll probably have Joe Mixon because Joe Shiesty, the Joe in the backfield,
Yeah.
You can't really beat that. Plus, they just went to the Super Bowl. Joe Mixon tore it up in the second half of the year.
Yeah.
He tore it up in the second half of the year last year, and I just don't see him slowing down anytime soon. I don't know if he got paid or if he did. I don't know, but if he's working to get paid, he's by far if he does what he's supposed to. But if he's already got it, then we'll see.
No,
what he does.
he's still working to get paid. He's still working to get paid.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. So
Nick, and hold on,
go ahead.
Nick Chubb, I feel like is going to drop like a little bit, especially because of the whole Deshaun Watson thing.
Yeah.
They're going to like almost like the Panthers. They got their box stacked with Chuba and Sam Darnold. Yeah. I think Jacoby Brissett and Nick Chubb are going to see an 8-man box.
Yeah. I do think Jacoby Brissett is a little more competent than people give him credit for, but I do see like he's not Deshaun Watson, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Browns are, and then plus they have another. I think his name's Dearness Jones. I think his name is. Or,
no. They have Kareem Hunt behind Nick Chubb.
Well, yeah, but Kareem Hunt was
they do have Dearness Jones as well, and he is actually a really good pure rusher that filled in nicely for him a couple times.
I think because Kareem Hunt wants to be traded. So
he does, but then he did say that he said he's not gonna hold out or anything. The team said that they really couldn't do that right now.
Find him. I'd be mad as crap if they found him.
Well, yeah, but he's still gonna play and get his touches just because I just don't think he wants to ruin everything like that. Now, Nick, who are you thinking between Najee Harris and Joe Mixon? And try not to be too biased here.
We'll see. I don't know who Najee Harris is, but I do like Joe Mixon, and I like the Bengals, so I'm going Joe Mixon.
You don't know who Najee Harris is, Nick?
No, I don't watch Pittsburgh sports.
I mean, I don't either, but you got to know at least. Come on, man.
Okay, well, I'm going to ask you a question.
Hey, I know who Alvin Kamara is, and he's lower on this list than him.
Well, that's right, and I'm going to ask CJ a question here. CJ, a PPR league, points per reception, are you likely to take maybe Kamara or Swift over Chubb just because you think of the receptions?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would even take Saquon over Chubb.
Oh God, that's where I kind of break
because
off.
Because like I said, like he tore his ACL.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna come back like AP, and I'm not saying he's gonna have an MVP year, but I think hopefully the Giants can form an offense that works.
Yeah, I do think it's time for him to have a little bit of a resurgence. I'd probably take Kamara and Swift over Chubb as well. I got a little bit of faith in the Lions this year to maybe do a little something. I don't think
Goff's not a bad quarterback.
No, he's not, and I can't stand like everybody's always dissing Jared Goff. The Rams were good.
He went to the Super Bowl like a second year.
The Rams were good with Jared Goff under center. It just so happened that Matt Stafford is better. Like, I mean,
they won the Super Bowl for it. I mean, it is what it is.
So I mean, like that next tier, like, and Nick, you said that Kamara would be a name that you'd be looking for. I do want to remind everybody that Kamara will most likely not face any kind of suspension for the civil suits that were filed against him during the Pro Bowl where he got in that fight. So most likely not missing any time. He's been a healthy guy too. So
yeah, and I just feel like I don't know. I don't follow football nearly as closely as y'all do. Like I follow the Panthers and Joe Burrow pretty much. That's it. But like I've seen enough about Alvin Kamara and the crazy stuff that he's done to just not think that if it was up to Najee Harris and Alvin Kamara, I might just take Alvin Kamara just because I know who he is more.
Yeah, he's a proven commodity.
Right.
I think Kamara was top fantasy running back like 3 or 4 years ago too.
Right. I've heard his name. He was good enough that I know who he is.
Yeah, he's been that guy. Now in that next little wave, I'm gonna put the next 3 guys in the same category. We got Barkley, we got Jones, and we got Javonte Williams. And now you said, CJ, that you're probably leaning Barkley there, right?
Barkley is, I think he's gonna have a bounce back year. I think he's gonna absolutely tear it up. I don't think he's gonna be like. Hopefully he'll be like a top 3 point running back for me, or not for me, but like just in general.
Yeah, I do think. Go ahead.
I think Aaron Jones. I think is gonna fall a lot because he kind of stunk it up second half. I didn't know he was the best quarterback in the league, but
yeah.
I don't know, but then also another sleeper I have is Javonte. Well, he's not really a sleeper, but Javonte Williams is also a very, very, very interesting guy because he has a new quarterback, very, very good new quarterback.
Yep.
and a very, very new good, like pretty much offense. A lot of the weapons can be utilized.
Russell
He's going to be utilized
Wilson.
a lot.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson.
Yeah,
But
I don't. Yeah, go ahead.
I'd almost take a chance on Williams over the both of them because now I think one thing that's hurt Barkley a lot, you can say, oh, Daniel Jones, but and he's not the greatest, but remember, Daniel Jones every single year is playing with like his fourth and fifth wide receivers by week 2. Like the poor guy has never had hardly one of his
And fourth and fifth string O-line too.
Yeah, like the poor
Not to
guy
mention
they
the
have just
starting ones are terrible.
so many injuries on offense every year for the Giants. That's why I can't deal with Barkley. I just can't do it. Aaron Jones, I like
Colby.
Aaron Jones, but what?
I got a question for you about Saquon.
Okay, give me 2 seconds on this Aaron Jones thing.
Okay, all right, I got you.
Aaron Jones is going to fall off because A.J. Dillon is that guy. I think A.J. Dillon is the new power runner for the Packers, in my opinion. He's got the quad. Have you seen the quads? Have you seen the quad? Look up the quads. Put them on the screen. But anyway, so I'd probably take
anyway.
But I'd probably take Saquon over Aaron Jones just because I think A.J. Dillon's going to take a lot of work. There's nobody in New York that I think is going to take
think
work.
About this too.
Saquon.
Who do the Packers have at QB?
Yeah, I mean they got Aaron Rodgers.
They're gonna be throwing that ball, son.
Yeah, well, it's gonna be hard to throw the ball when he's talking trash about all the wide receivers in training camp. He's best man. He said
I like AJ Dillon a lot. He's probably gonna get the bulk of the carries. Oh, is it lagging? Oh, it's lagging bad.
You're good. You're good.
You're good. You're good.
Am I good now?
Yep, you're good. No, I feel you. I feel you on that for sure.
Like, because they're going to throw some slip screens to that man. They're going to throw some swing passes to him. Aaron Jones is not a bad runner.
No.
He just needs to quit getting hurt sometimes. He needs to be consistent enough.
He does stay questionable pretty much every week.
Right. That's what I mean. Like, is he going to play? Is he not going to play?
Yeah. All right, Nick, you said you had a question.
Yeah. So if Saquon was available with your late second round pick, possibly if you had an early first round pick in a snake draft or something, would you say that you had to take him if he's still available in late second or third round?
If I'm going late second, I would hope some people pulled the trigger on enough wide receivers that Swift could fall to me late second.
Okay.
Swift's the 10th running back.
That.
Like, let's say that we're 16, that's 16 picks because we go 8 teams.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that Swift or even, I don't think Kamara's falling that far. I think Swift or Chubb probably falls to me, and I would probably rather take them than a Saquon. But then after them, it's probably Javonte for me, just because everybody knows Javonte and Melvin Gordon are in a 50-50 timeshare. But
I don't know about that.
Well, exactly. Like it's everybody. Everybody's saying
Javonte is a lot more talented, a lot better than Melvin. Melvin is proven. Like, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, people are saying 60-40.
Power back, or people even Javonte's power back too. But
people are saying 55-45. But I think as the season goes, you will see Javonte take that role for a really good offense.
Yeah, Javonte's got to take that role.
So I'm thinking you're looking for Barkley early third, in my opinion. That's my opinion. Now, if somebody reaches on him in the back end of the second, I'm not gonna like smite that person down. Like, dude, if that's your guy, go get your guy.
Yeah, he's down at the bottom of tier 3 now.
I do see that, and if he was at the end of the third round, maybe even mid third round, I would pull the trigger on him before the two guys ahead of him.
And we're talking about Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah,
but he is. I drafted him his rookie year. He was amazing.
Oh yes, same.
He has been a runaway freight train downhill. So,
but you got to remember, Zeke was still a top 10 running back last year.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. And they think about, I think it's just like the expectation that we put on him for what he was.
Dude, he was supposed to be the best running back ever. He had 1,500 yards his first.
It was a bunch. And now then the second year he started catching a lot of passes too.
And then his O-line got hurt, and then he didn't know how to run through holes anymore.
Yeah, and they've dealt with some injuries.
That Cabo sand.
They had to deal with the whole Dak Prescott injury and stuff too, so that doesn't help anything. That you running into the back of your offensive lineman for a whole season.
All right, but let me ask you a question there.
Okay.
You taking playoff Lenny or Ezekiel Elliott? Who are you taking?
I'm taking Zeke, and that's just because I feel like with the Buccaneers last year, now I don't know what Todd Bowles is going to do, but Bruce Arians was a guy. Bruce Arians was a guy that just all of a sudden, Leonard Fournette was fine, but all of a sudden Ronald Jones might be the big guy trotting out there, or something last year. So who knows what Todd Bowles is going to do? Don't know if he's more of just like a here you go, Leonard Fournette's a guy that he's getting up there just a little bit, but he's still got enough in the tank to get it done for Tom.
He's a goal line back for sure.
Yeah, he's a pure rusher for sure.
Yeah, you give him the ball, he's gonna run over sticks. Because he was a 4th pick by the Jaguars in 20. I don't even know how long ago.
Yeah, that's been a while. It's been a while coming out of LSU looking like a whole man.
But he was 30.
Dude looked 30. He did. He did look about 30.
18 years old and a 30-year-old body. I don't know.
So, Nick, is there any guys right there on the end of that list that you want to discuss real quick before we move on to the next tier?
I mean, I like Zeke as long as him and Dak together. I think Zeke's going to be good. If he's still available in your 3rd round, and you have a later pick maybe, or especially if he's in the 4th round, I think you have to take a chance on him.
Oh, for sure. Oh, yeah. Goodness. If a bunch of quarterbacks and tight ends started going off the board and he's in the early 4th, I would be jumping for joy on that. Mm-hmm. That's for sure. I'd go 3 running backs on a situation like that. But now, last guy that we didn't talk about, James Conner. He's a guy that's got to stay healthy. He's on a good offense. I like the Cardinals. We'll see what happens with that situation.
I don't know if I like the Cardinals, but we'll see. They fell apart last year.
Yeah, they did. You're correct. And Kyler Murray did struggle with some injuries down the stretch. Hopefully he's healthy enough.
Yeah, hopefully he watches film 4 hours a week.
Yeah. All right, tier 4. Here's where it gets a little bit dicey. This is where you're probably looking. Some people are going to be looking for their 3rd running back out of this tier, and that's scary.
And I think we go with maybe pick out 4 guys out of this tier 4.
So the first,
I wouldn't say sleepers, but I would say good picks.
Yeah. So what's the first guy that jumps out at you? I'll let you go first.
J.K. Dobbins, man.
Absolutely.
Coming off that ACL and a run-heavy offense, everybody's going to be focusing on Lamar.
Yep. I think if you go with 2 studs early, let's say your first 2 picks are Christian McCaffrey and DeAndre Swift for some reason. And then I would say, because you're not going to start anybody over those 2 guys the first couple weeks anyway. I would say J.K. Dobbins.
When CMC gets hurt, you're going to have to put somebody in.
Calm down. Okay. But by the 3rd or 4th week, I think J.K. Dobbins is integrated completely back into the offense. He's looking like a stud. We know that Gus Edwards isn't quite back yet, so it's J.K. Dobbins' backfield. So I agree completely.
And it was before he got hurt, it was his
backfield. I would probably take J.K. Dobbins over anybody else in that tier right there.
And that's how I feel too, because they have old Breece Hall up there pretty high.
Yeah, I'm
like the Jets.
I'm not buying the Jets.
The only thing good about the quarterback for the Jets is that he's a MILF hunter. That's it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Kobe, what you said that A.J. Dillon for the Packers you thought was going to be the man. He's down here at 23. Would you recommend reaching for him even a little bit?
No, he's going to get half the carries.
He's only going to get half the carries. I do think that the carries that he does get will be efficient. So if the Packers are in a good matchup, I wouldn't have a problem with somebody starting Aaron Jones and then somebody else starting A.J. Dillon at the same time. If they're against a team that just doesn't have a good run defense, I could see both those guys starting in a week, especially with a couple of injuries to some other players around the league. But there is another name there that I like more than A.J. Dillon, and it's just for upside purposes, and that's Travis Etienne for the Jaguars. Yes. Coming out here, playing with his college quarterback, Trevor Lawrence. The hair is back. I hope that Trevor Lawrence does good. I hope that offense
looks good in preseason, man. He's looking
hey, got a new coach.
Him and Christian Kirk are going to be the best duo in the league.
Oh,
gosh, I do like that the Jaguars, everybody's like, well, dang, they overpaid for these guys. Listen, they went out and got some guys. Okay. Thankful.
Trevor to throw to,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
he didn't have, who do you have? DJ Chark?
Yeah, exactly.
DJ Chark's a good
Laviska Shenault.
You mean the running back?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm probably taking J.K. Dobbins first out of this, and then I'm reaching Travis Etienne just because last year got hurt in the preseason. We never got to see him. So I would take a chance on that QB running back duo from college. They're doing something.
Throw one more name at you.
Okay, go ahead.
He does have fumbling issues.
Oh no, I know who you're talking about.
What am I talking about?
I'm completely hands off on Antonio Gibson at this point. If you
I
notice
am too.
in the
Kind of.
in the training camp, it's been Brian Robinson is sharing the carries with him now. It's been Brian Robinson sharing carries on the first team drives in preseason now.
He looks nasty, by the way.
Yeah,
Big
Antonio.
man
He's a,
backfield.
hey,
Reminds me of Lenny, kind
where
of.
did he
Not
go
that
to?
big,
Where
but
did he go to
close.
college?
Where else would he go? Who else did the Commanders draft? They only draft
Exactly.
Alabama guys.
Alabama. So I did
Get
hear a
brushed out next
crazy.
year.
I heard a crazy stat today. So every Alabama running back that is like okay. So we got to talk. We're talking guys like Mark Ingram. We're talking guys like Derrick Henry. We're even talking
Trent
guys like
Richardson,
Trent Richardson, even
Eddie
TJ
Lacy.
Yeldon, Eddie Lacy, even TJ Yeldon. They all had an over 1,500 total yard season at some point. So Brian Robinson has it in him. Like, and it's obvious that Antonio Gibson goes out there the very first play of preseason, fumbles the ball. Like, and you're just like, Antonio Gibson has
That's all
given
he
you,
does, man. That's all he
he's
does.
given you back-to-back top 12 running back performances, and this dude might not even be the starting running back for the Redskins to open the year.
And no, you forgot to mention one other running back for the Redskins.
Smooches, McKissick.
Oh, Smooches.
Oh, Smooches.
That man is a pass-catching machine. He was
Yeah.
Alex Smith's best friend for like 4 games.
Yep. So in PPR situation, I'm probably hands off on the Redskins running backs in general.
Yeah, because we don't until they figure out who that guy's going to be. Because I think
Yeah.
Gibson is a good runner, but he's got to
I
hold on
would
to the freaking ball.
I would rather take Brian Robinson late in the draft, like with my last pick, than take Antonio Gibson where he's going.
All right. And then I have one more name for you.
Okay.
Mr. I forget if he played last year, but Mr. Cam Akers.
Cam Akers and playing on a
I
good
know he
team.
tore his ACL, but I forget if it was last year or the year before.
Yeah, it was so he was hurt the majority of last year, but he did come back toward the end of the season and get the bulk of the carries. Now, Nick, I'm going to chime in with you here because I know you know about the Rams. Anything good to say about the old Rams offense over there? He does.
About the Rams?
About the Rams.
Do they still have Odell?
So Odell actually not really signed with anybody right now. You know, he's hurt to a point to where he probably couldn't come back until at least mid-season at the earliest. So nobody's really pulling the trigger on Odell right now. But they got Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
They brought in Allen Robinson, who was a stud wide receiver that's never had a good quarterback, and they've said nothing but praises about him. And they've still got Matthew Stafford. So
he is a true one.
Yeah. So I mean,
that guy.
I don't know. Like, you know, Darrell Henderson has always been kind of just like that comfort piece for the Rams. He's never been like, okay, he struggled with injuries too. No. Listen, I'm serious. When Darrell Henderson has been the only back in the backfield, he's been very
had Mac
serviceable.
Brown.
They did have Malcolm Brown too. Okay, but they have always split if more than one of those guys has been healthy.
Right. And so I think Akers can take the bulk of them.
Well, I think that they would almost, just because Cam Akers and Darrell Henderson have both struggled with injuries, I think that they would both need each other to stay healthy, in my opinion. That's just my opinion.
All right. So we're going to jump into tier 5.
This is the deep sleepers,
this
bro.
This is stuff right here.
Well, I wouldn't say deep.
Well, it's going to be good.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah.
We're getting into the deep stuff. This is like guys I would think are.
Where do you go to school, Nick?
I don't know.
Well, the main thing that I got to ask Nick about Clyde Edwards-Helaire is, do you think the Chiefs even care about running the ball at this point?
No.
Why
would you when you have Patrick Mahomes? Like,
well, they don't have Tyreek anymore.
Yeah, that's true. They may run the ball a lot more.
Hey,
now.
they got Mr. TikTok. They got Mr. TikTok. What are you talking about? They still got Travis Kelce. They did pick up Valdez-Scantling from the Green Bay Packers. He's the obvious two right now.
I think he's.
Hey, yeah, I'm serious. He's a guy.
Scantling is his name.
Valdez-Scantling. But he was the two. He was kind of like the slot guy for Aaron Rodgers last year. I would say Lazard was the two, but. I'm hands off with the Kansas City backfield. You want a piece of the offense. You don't want a piece of the backfield.
Mm-hmm. All right.
No, I would rather take the number 2 wide receiver.
Well, let me throw a name at you here. See what you think.
Okay.
Tony Pollard.
I'm
I think
if
he
you
will get
draft
traded.
Zeke, I think you kind of have to draft Tony Pollard.
Like the same team, you think?
Yes, because if anything was to happen to Zeke whatsoever, Tony Pollard is immediately a top 10 running back in the NFL, in my
I
opinion.
think he's top 15 just now. His Zeke's just in his way.
Yeah, it's just hard because they're giving Zeke the money that he deserves. I mean, like the money that he deserved at the time.
They're
But
giving
now
him like 20
I'm going to
million a
tell you
year.
something here, CJ, and I want to see what you say about this.
Okay.
So what I heard earlier today was that, and it wasn't just today that it happened. The Seattle Seahawks third round rookie that they drafted, I think he was third round. He just had hernia surgery, so he could miss a couple games at the
Kenneth
beginning of the
Walker?
season. Yes. So Rashad Penny, is that a guy that you're going to take a chance on with his health concerns for maybe the first 2 or 3
He
weeks of the
would be a
season?
backup or a rare flex appearance.
Yeah. I think if you needed him for the first couple weeks, draft him. Let's say you went high on wide receivers or something.
Right.
But if you want to take a chance on a guy that's going to blossom, take somebody else. Don't take Rashad Penny.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
Nick, you were talking about earlier, and me and CJ were talking about it too with Cleveland. You
Mhm.
got Kareem Hunt in the backfield too. Probably the two most. If you don't want to talk Zeke and Tony Pollard, you're definitely talking Chubb and Hunt as your two most powerful backfield, people in the backfield at the same time.
Right.
Would you take a chance on a guy like Hunt, Nick, later in the draft, hoping maybe Chubb misses a couple games here and there from getting beat up on that O-line zone, on front seven?
I mean, I definitely think that if I already had some of the biggest pieces that I needed, that I might grab him as I don't know, just like a safety net, kind of.
Yeah. Would you now? Let's say you're the Chubb owner. Would you ever think about grabbing Kareem Hunt if you were the Chubb owner?
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
I've seen people play them both at the same time before.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, they're gonna be
Oh,
they're gonna be getting the first and second most touches, right? So whatever touches one doesn't get, the other one's gonna get. So I mean, I don't know.
I do think in this offense, when you have a backup quarterback, your backup quarterback looks to his athletes. His main athletes on the offense. I know they got Amari Cooper. I know David Njoku has been said to be just this freak athlete for several years.
I don't
still
think he's on the Browns anymore.
Yeah, no, he is. He's still there.
I thought he was talking with the Jaguars.
No,
No, that was Evan Ingram.
Yep, you're right. And
Whoops.
but I still think Chubb and Hunt are your two best options, and backup quarterbacks love to dump it off. So, there's a chance that Hunt could definitely help you. I'm hands off on Miles Sanders, CJ. I don't know about you.
Miles, where do you see him?
Miles Sanders at the top of tier 5. I'm not doing
why are you hands off Miles Sanders?
Because he's had every opportunity to be that guy in Philadelphia, but it's always like Byron Scott or Kenneth Gainwell taking carries away from him, and you're just like, who is this guy now?
Well, the Phillies, sheesh. The Eagles, they spread the ball around a lot to different players.
Yeah.
If you ever know. Mm-hmm. And I think with their O-line is like probably top.
Yeah. It has looked a lot better.
In the NFL right now.
It has looked a lot better.
And they have Javonte Smith. Forget who they signed. I think
they got AJ Brown.
Yeah, they traded for AJ Brown. Exactly.
Yep.
Like they're gonna spread the ball around a lot. Miles Sanders, I think, will be a good pick, but I don't know if he's that high. But I'm gonna throw you a name right here, Cole.
Okay. Last thing though, I will say is like the Eagles have a running back at quarterback too. So.
Right, but I mean, I think Jalen Hurts is a better pick.
Oh, for sure. So what name were you thinking to throw? He's frozen.
Yeah, he's frozen on mine.
Okay,
there he goes.
Okay, go ahead. Tell us what name.
Hello.
Hold on. Buddy.
Ain't lagging. Holy.
Now,
James Cook.
James Cook. So you're
the brother of Dalvin. Oh,
Yep.
Buffalo number 1 running back.
Second round draft pick for the Buffalo Bills. I've been pretty hands off of the Bills backfield for a couple years. If you're not giving me Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, or Gabe Davis this year, I'm probably still hands off just because the other day Zach Moss was the guy that trotted out there with the first team and running a touchdown. And then next week it could be Devin Singletary, and next week it could be James Cook. Like, you just never know. So maybe
I just
with
feel like he
your,
could be a good like sleeper flex, maybe if he does.
are
good
you
in the
thinking
game.
like maybe like last like close to the last round? If you got a spot you might need to just take a chance on a guy.
For sure. I would
Yeah.
definitely.
He's on a good team.
He's on a great.
Yeah.
I would think. Expect him out, maybe.
If I'm gonna stab in the dark at a couple other guys, I don't think Cordell Patterson is gonna do what he did last year for the Falcons.
They don't have any. I mean, they don't have any. Like Calvin Ridley's gone. They don't
Yeah,
have.
I'm
Like,
off
the
on him.
target the normal pick of the draft.
I'm decently high up on Chase Edmonds for Miami just because they upgraded their wide receiver core so much with Tyreek Hill. That takes a lot of pressure off of the running back. And Chase
on Miami.
Evans is a guy that catches passes too. So in a PPR situation, I might be looking for a guy like Chase Edmonds. I think that's kind of as far as we wanted to go. A lot of these guys next, you're just kind of taking a chance on. In an 8-team league like we do, I don't think we'll have to worry about any of those guys down there until the waivers hit, after a couple injuries. Any other names that just jump out at you real quick before we wrap her up?
Oh, Ronald Jones is on Kansas City now, by the way.
Yeah, I thought that he left. But
Yeah,
they actually, there's some kind of big hype about a rookie that they took in the draft. Not Hilaire, the hype isn't around Hilaire or Jones or anybody. It's around some kind of rookie that they took in the draft. All of a sudden, they say he's showing out at practice. So who knows what they're going to do in
The
Kansas
Chiefs
City?
always pull something out,
The Chiefs are
But
always using weapons.
I
So
don't know who the Bears' #1 running back is, but Khalil Herbert
David
might
Montgomery.
be.
David Montgomery is the number one, but like you just said, Khalil Herbert. You can talk about him for just a second.
I could see him making some moves.
Absolutely. If you're in a deep league and you're looking for somebody that just might maybe you drafted David Montgomery and you want Khalil Herbert as just like the handcuff for him. I don't think that's a bad look just because David Montgomery can be that guy, but Khalil Herbert has showed that he is a very serviceable backup.
Exactly.
Nobody else. I do worry about one more thing, and I'll tell you this and then I'll be done. I worry about how much Jamal Williams is going to take carries away from DeAndre Swift.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Okay. All
Jamal
right,
Williams is not a threat to
Okay. I'm glad that you think so. So now I can draft Swift without worrying about it.